communion to make the meaning and logic of his actions understandable to the spectators. An actor must communicate with them indirectly through his communion with other actors. Stanislavsky showed that, except in special cases, such as commedia dell'arte, when an actor has direct contact with spectators, he becomes merely a reporter instead of a live character. This relationship disrupts the truth of the performance and distracts the audience from the play itself. An honest, unbroken communion between actors, on the other hand, holds the spectators' attention and makes them part of what takes place on stage. The actor must be in communion with his real partner, not with an imaginary person. As our behavior in life depends on people around us, the actor's behavior as a character is related to that of the people around him. He has different relationships with those, for instance, who are friendly and with those who are hostile. His use of the magic if and of his imagination will help him to develop the proper attitudes toward each of his fellow actors. The actor depends upon the on-stage event's conflicts, sympathies, antipathies, and other relationships among the characters. These events happen through the efforts of the entire group. To be in communion with another person on stage means to be aware of that person's presence, to make sure that he hears and understands what you tell him and that you hear and understand what he tells you. That means mutual influence. Just as in life, we see images before we speak. The actor, in order to influence his audience, must see images and transmit them to his fellow actors. And through active transmission of his lines, an actor will impress on his fellow actor what he wants him to see and to hear. If he knows his action and energetically communicates it to the other actor, he will be carried away by the experience of the character he portrays. Communicates with determinati bad actor. An actor must absorb what other persons tell him. Their words, actions, and thoughts must come to him as if he were hearing them for the first time. During a dialogue, thoughts, projects, memories, or decisions must flow through the minds of the one listens. Their reactions must be physical and psychological and should not be interrupted when another actor speaks or during silences and pauses.
If an actor,
while trying to influence his partner, strives to obtain a definite physical result, for instance, a smile, a shrug of a shoulder, a movement of the spine, his aim becomes concrete, his imagination will be stirred, and his attention concentrated, and he will achieve a strong communion. The gestures of the body before and after the words must project what words cannot project. Verbal action depends on physical action, but sometimes an actor talks to himself on stage. A monologue is a concentrated process of thinking aloud, expressing the character's mood, his thoughts, and feelings, without offering this as a part of his system. Stanislavsky described how he himself behaved in order to be in communion with himself. He made the brain and the solar plexus, which are two centers of our nerve's life, talk to each other. He felt as if he had two eyes which established a steady dialogue between themselves, as if they were two actors, to communicate with an imaginary object. For instance, the ghost of Hamlet's father. An actor must use the magic if, telling himself honestly what he would do if he saw a ghost. The actor can also influence the audience through his contact with objects on stage, of which he must be properly aware. An actor should not practice a dialogue without another person. Otherwise, he can become accustomed to receiving no reaction and might have difficulty in communicating on stage with a person who does react. An actor must learn to respond to his fellow actor, for it is what happens between the characters that is important and interesting to the audience. True communion takes place when a slight change in intonation of one evokes a change in intonation in an interchange. In the expression of a face of one will provoke change in another. Intonation, movement, and jest evoke valuable if they arise from communion with the parter, are valuable if they arise from communicate with the partner. In mass scenes, an actor may communicate with various people in the crowd. He may be in communion with one person or with all of them. Stanislavsky demanded from each actor not only the principles, but even those who took part only in the mass scenes, a detailed biography of the character he was portraying. Actors without a single word to say created characters full of inner content and brought individual life to the stage. The actor must make sharp use of his senses in order to achieve a strong sense of communion. When an actor without any physical tension sees intensely, hears intensely, and when his body expresses the mental processes, he has a complete grasp. As Stanislavsky called it, improvisations. 1. Two persons are sitting in an opera house listening to a performance. A person next to them finds that one of his neighbors is familiar to him. Trying to remember where he could have met this person, he disturbs the others. Think of real parties or other places of people you know in real life. Be aware of each other's behavior and react to it as you would in life in a psychophysical way. 2. Two secret agents meet in a public place, a restaurant, an airport, etc., and one has to hand the other an important document. There is a detective in the same place watching them. Try to pass over the document without being caught. You must attract your partner's attention. Be sure that he understands you and that you react appropriately to his behavior. Evaluate your partner. Make certain that you succeed in transmitting your images to him. Use your body.